Hi friends, so as we have been discussing in this series of videos which we have aptly named as ethics of alphabet of ethics, today we have come to the fourth dimension of our syllabus, that is emotional intelligence. After having discussed ethics, attitude, aptitude, emotional intelligence. Okay, so like in emotional intelligence, today we would be discussing emotional intelligence as a concept, the model provided by Meyer and Salovey, and then to that what Goleman has added, Daniel Goleman, the famous Rutgers philosopher. Then we would be coming to a critique of emotional intelligence and emotional quotient, what is the difference and why emotional intelligence is so important. Then we would be discussing cultural intelligence, contextual intelligence and emotional agility. Okay. We would also be discussing the attributes of emotional intelligent civil servant and the relevance of emotional intelligence for public servant, and then we would discuss conflict resolution, emotional well-being, and we would also discuss future of emotional quotient or emotional intelligence, cabinetization of bureaucracy, and not to forget we would also be discussing what is emotional intelligence and emotional quotient. Okay, so do not get bogged down. These are all simple things, very simple. Just concentrate on that particular word. So, emotional intelligence. When emotional intelligence is mentioned in syllabus, it talks about it talks about concept, it talks about utilities, and it talks about application. Okay, that means it is basically interested, UPSC is basically interested that you know emotional intelligence as a concept and what is its relevance and application part. Okay, so emotional intelligence, see most of the words in ethics paper, if you are not sure about its meaning, then try to understand or relocate the meaning by going by the etymological or the root of that word. You can come out with a relevant answer of your own. Okay, anyway, examiner do not like technical definitions. Okay, so emotional intelligence basically is made up of two words, emotions and intelligence. As we have discussed in attitude, CAB, CAB, cognitive, affective and behavioral. So basically emotional, in that lecture also I have told that I would be discussing these things in detail in emotional intelligence. Emotions basically is your affective part. I have drawn hurt, my drawing is bad. And intelligence is your cognitive part, your thinking part. Your emotional, that is affective, your thinking, that is cognitive part. Okay, emotional intelligence. See, in our day-to-day life, emotions and intelligence is used in a very antithetical manner. Suppose we say ना कि अरे यार वो इमोशनल है, थोड़ा इमोशनल फूल बन गया, ठीक है, इमोशंस है इसीलिए इमोशनल फूल बन गया. Okay, and intelligent people are not considered as emotional, but no, a heightened level of intelligent person is always emotional, because he is very sensitive, and a heightened level of emotional person is very, very intelligent, because he understands the feelings, unsaid communication of other person. Okay, and this was basically done by John H. Mayer. Okay, he was University of New Hampshire professor, and Salovey, Peter Salovey, he was at Yale University, and both of them, Meyer and Salovey, discussed this particular concept for the first time in 1990. Okay, in that particular paper which they published jointly, they talked that emotional intelligence, in the context of emotional intelligence, and they also coined this term emotional intelligence for the first time, though this term has been discussed since 350 BC from the time of Aristotle. Because see, Aristotle was a philosopher who always believed in dual entity. So he talked about mind and matter. So he talked about emotions and intelligence. He talked about these things. Maybe he has not given that term in this particular concept, in this particular manner, but the concept was same. Okay, so Peter Salovey and John H. Mayer, 1990, they discussed this particular concept, and they said that PAUR, this abbreviation stands for perceiving your emotion, assessing your emotion, understanding your emotion, and reflecting on your emotion. Perceiving your emotion, जैसे हमको गुस्सा आया, आई परसीव्ड, देन आई असेस्ड कितना गुस्सा आया, देन आई अंडरस्टैंड क्यों गुस्सा आया, एंड देन आई रिफ्लेक्ट क्या गुस्सा करना ठीक होगा. तो PAUR, परसीविंग, assessing, understanding and reflecting. And in this particular context they have given a model. They gave their model of emotional intelligence, to which something was added by Daniel Goleman, and then this term became very famous by the turn of this millennium, by the turn of past millennium rather. Okay, see, they gave this term as self. In their emotional intelligence concept, there were only three qualities: self awareness, self regulation or self management, and motivation. Self awareness, that means I am aware about my emotions. Self regulation, I'm able to regulate my emotions because I'm aware, and I can motivate myself out of any negative emotion. Self awareness, self regulation and motivation. This was also called as intrapersonal, because all these three things are happening within you. So this model was also called as intrapersonal definition of emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman was a professor of Rutgers University. He picked this particular thing in 1995, okay, and then he came with his concept by adding social skills, that means how better you can relate with other person, and empathy. Both the social skills and empathy are interpersonal. So basically to three qualities of intrapersonal skill, he added two quality of interpersonal skill, and then he made these 5 principles as the constituent element of a person who can be regarded as emotionally intelligent person. Okay, self-regulation, self-awareness, motivation, social skills and empathy. Okay, started by Meyer and Salovey. Meyer and Salovey model is also called as self-ability model of emotional intelligence. Why? Because here it is talking about intrapersonal level. They talked perceiving emotion, assessing emotion, understanding emotion and reflecting emotion. Okay, now we come to the other dimension of emotional intelligence. Okay, in this dimension we see that in 2001, actually Goleman has given this particular concept in a very famous, till now it is regarded as one of the most famous paper of Harvard Business Review. In that famous paper, okay, he basically gave that, and then that paper got so much of traction that he came with different provisions of emotional intelligence in succeeding years. In 2001, he came with a professor Burgess and Mackey. Mackey was from University of Pennsylvania and he was from City Western Resource University. Okay, with these two persons, he came with a concept called as primal leadership, in which he regarded the financial health of a particular organization is always better if that organization is led by a person who is emotionally intelligent. Okay. Then in 2008, Daniel Goleman again paired with Burgess and he gave this paper called Social Intelligence and the Biology of a Leader. In this, basically he regarded that emotionally intelligent people are sine qua non or indispensable for running of a efficient organization. Okay. Then in 2012, most recently, he gave Focused Leader, a paper Focused Leader, in which he discussed about the new findings of related with MRI as a scientific tool to study the live movement of neural movement within our brain, and then based on the findings of fMRI, he basically came with a paper called Focused Leader. In fact, when Salovey and Meyer came with their intra-personal model of emotional intelligence, it was the same time when MRI was being used to basically see the happenings within our neural happenings within brain. Okay, so this was basically the literary context as far as emotional intelligence is concerned. Now we come to the application part. See, attributes of emotional intelligence. A person who is emotionally intelligent is a person who understands other person's emotions. He basically understands his own emotions. He applies that particular context in trying to understand, and while trying to understand, he tries to alleviate the problem as far as possible. So this is a very, very important attribute of a person having that emotional intelligence as a quality, and that particular attribute has relevance of that person if he is a civil servant or a public servant. Why? Because for the present time, lots of affirmative actions are being thrown. The word cannot be thrown. Lots of affirmative actions are being applied for the alleviation of poverty, alleviation of illiteracy, then social mobility. Okay, 73rd and 74th PRI and urban local bodies have become more and more powerful. Okay, so they also require people are expecting more to be delivered to them. People aspiration level has increased because of the communication dissemination that has become very fast. Okay, so relevance and attribute are basically related with one another, and what you have learned in emotional intelligence as an attribute is basically useful to make n number of attributes and n number of relevance. Okay, then we come to the aspect of conflict resolution. See, emotionally intelligent person is always very, very proficient as far as conflict resolution is concerned. See, conflict resolution again is made up of two words: conflict, where there is some tussle, some antipodalities, and we have to resolve. Resolve here is not a neutral term. In resolution, it is not a zero-sum game. Conflict resolution basically happens only when a proposition of win-win is thrown at both the parties. Okay. So suppose, like we say na, in one of the maxims we say ki having the cake and eating it too. This is applied to anything which can basically which is basically relocated at the level of conflict, but while resolving we can provide a win-win resolution. Okay. Then we come to emotional well-being. See, emotional well-being is like from the time of recruitment of that particular public servant. If I am talking in the context of public servant, from the time of recruitment to the time of training, then again going to the field, then again getting a deputation, and then getting parent cadre, then central deputation, then again moving to mid-term career learning, then again coming into that higher echelon of bureaucracy, secretary, joint secretary level, then again at the fag end of the career getting into central deputation, maybe attaching with some central ministry. Okay, so in all these contexts you have to have that emotional well-being. Okay, you have to have that emotional well-being as far as your work is concerned, as far as satisfaction level of that work is concerned. You have to make yourself relevant, not only relevant as far as the mandate, the professional mandate is concerned, but you also have to make your work meaningful. You have to have that humane touch, and for all these things emotional intelligence becomes very, very important. Okay, now we come to three concepts. Actually, from that emotional intelligence only, these three concepts came. Cultural intelligence it was given by Muscovisky. Cultural intelligence has become very, very important for the simple reason that now we are living in a global world. We all have become global citizens, and this is a global village. Okay, as we say Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam from Mandukya Upanishad. So if you have become global citizen with global problem related to militancy, cyber warfare, information warfare, climate warming. Okay, so all this requires a cultural intelligence. You should be able to appreciate the other person's culture. Okay, that tolerance, that compassion should be there. Then we come to second context, that is contextual intelligence. It has been given by Harvard business professor named Tarun Khanna of Indian origin. He gave that it is very important to have that cognitive empathy. Basically, cognitive empathy was a word used by Daniel Goleman for the first time, but then Tarun Khanna picked that word and gave that contextual intelligence. That means you should have that intelligence for that particular context. You should basically fit in that particular thing Suppose a small boy indulges in theft, a small theft, to provide food to his ailing mother. If you are SHO, then basically you would have to relocate the whole thing in that particular context to have that cognitive empathy. A small boy, okay. So basically society has failed that boy rather than that boy is doing some crime. Then we come to emotional agility. Actually, this is a very important topic because here basically you have to understand, appreciate, be empathic to your own emotions. And then only you can basically become emotionally agile. You can move. Suppose you are feeling anger now. Try to embrace that feeling of anger to its ultimate level. It is also said now that a person who is able to make you angry becomes your master. Okay. There are certain sayings also related to these five topics. Khalil Gibran has said that if you understand your pain, then the shell of your understanding breaks up and you lead to the domain of wisdom. Okay, so these are some sayings. In emotional agility has been given by Susan David. Okay, she has basically said that while we appreciate a particular emotion without being judgmental to it, we can work efficiently even while we are having that feeling of dissonance within us. Okay, suppose we are angry, we get to the maximum extent of understanding without getting judgmental of I being as an angry, I being under anger. I being under anger, I should not become judgmental to that and I should understand that. Okay, so that I can be emotionally agile. Suppose I am undergoing through some bereavement in my family. So rather than me trying to suppress that pain, I should embrace that pain to its ultimate level. It is also said that when you embrace a pain to its ultimate level, you get out of that pain. If you embrace your anger to its ultimate level, you get out of anger. So rather than suppressing, it is important to understand. Okay. Then we come to future of, before that we would come to critique. See, emotional intelligence has become such an important topic that now people have also started to criticize it because now they are regarding emotional intelligence as the silver bullet. So Adam Grant, a professor of Wharton University, has said that emotional intelligence is overpriced. It is overestimated as a quality. Emotional intelligence is not that indispensable because a person who is simply intelligent can deploy an emotional intelligent person to deal with these things. But remember, while criticizing also, he said that an emotional intelligent person has to be employed. Suppose, for example, Steve Jobs comes to my mind. He was a leader who was only intelligent. Or Elon Musk of Tesla. He is a person who is very cold-blooded, should I say cold business leader. Okay, he is not emotionally intelligent and he says also, but maybe he has employed people who are more emotionally intelligent. But while criticizing also, he could not criticize it completely, Adam Grant. Okay, now we come to future of emotional. Before that, I would try to discuss you. Emotional intelligence is basically a concept and certain equations, certain parameters has been defined to calculate it in a quantitative manner, and that particular calculation methodology brings us to emotional quotient. Okay, now we come to future of EQ. Future of EQ is very relevant, it would be increasing in traction as we have come to work from home protocol. Emotional intelligence, the emotional quotient becomes more and more important. Okay, because this whole particular thing, particularly after pandemic, even before pandemic also, we are undergoing through a transition where capitalism itself is being questioned. Okay, so emotional quotient, emotional intelligent people would be always looked up to. Okay, then we come to cabinetization of bureaucracy. See, cabinetization of bureaucracy is an exemplification where that whole bureaucracy is not emotionally intelligent. Cabinetization means that the whole bureaucracy has been divided into different cabinet. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि हमारा फाइल जो है वहां से वहां जाता है. To basically get out of this cabinetization only, single window clearance, all these concepts have been allocated by the government to make the whole process simple. Okay, so cabinetization of bureaucracy is basically a red tapeistic approach of bureaucracy. So with this we end our today's discussion. Hope you are liking my video. Please share it. Okay, so thank you.